Greetings, my friends. How we doing today? What I'm going to attempt to do in this video is respond to a handful of comments and or questions left on my videos. Now, I cannot respond to all comments, questions, whatever. There's just far too many. I have over 500 videos, so, I just don't have the time. I'd like to preface this by stating, though, I don't have a problem with criticism if it's presented in a rational manner, if you will. Some people like to be caustic just for the sake of it, like to be the adversary just for the sake of it. Give me a sound argument, I will respond. There's been plenty of people in the past who have presented sound arguments, and I've responded, and in the end, it helps an individual to grow, if you will, to learn from others by listening to criticism. All right, I'm not blind. This path is all about growth. All right, I'm not going to turn a blind eye to a sound critique, if you will. But then again, there are quite a few who are just straight up idiots who leave idiotic comments, idiotic critiques. Those, go somewhere else, all right? Or, even worse, are rude. I do not like rude people. Okay, now, to begin with, on my last video, the video entitled The Leviathan Hypothesis, someone wrote, "It should be the Aeon of Apep, not Leviathan. This dude has a huge blind spot for Egypt, the original chaos comp civilization, with an entire religion based on chaos versus order." Now, the truth is, I don't have a blind spot for Egypt. I've made videos on set. In my video, The God of Magic, I start with Thoth, or Thoth, or however you want to pronounce his name, leading all the way up to Odin. So no, I don't have a prejudice against Egypt. It's just that Leviathan, here within our, let's say, Western culture, based on Judeo-Christian traditions, would be the most appropriate mask for this, for the chaos Kampf, if you will. More appropriate than Tiamat or Apep or any of them. So that's why I emphasize Leviathan. Okay, let's see the next one. Oh, okay. I forget what video this one came off of, but somebody wrote, "Do not meditate on nothingness. Meditate on Jesus Christ's scripture and you shall be saved. If you meditate on nothingness, you are opening your mind to demons." Yes, I am. I am attempting to open my mind to demons. That's what we should be doing on this path. We want to commune with the demons because I want to reach self-deification. Now, my idea of self-deification is the equivalent to Jung's individuation. And the only way you become fully whole is by connecting with the demons, the darker aspects, that which bubbles up or comes up out of the abyss, out of hell. So yes, I want to commune with the demons. And then someone else wrote, The God of peace will soon crush Satan under your feet. Why under my feet? Why not under God's feet? His feet are bigger. Okay, the next one. I thought you were gonna also mention meditation as a means for achieving a higher state of consciousness. I'm curious to know what you think medication can bring about. Did I say medication? Meditation can bring about. I don't have anything against meditation. My thing, though, is I perform what's called yogic breath work. You kind of reach the same state, if you will, except you come about it a lot quicker. I don't have a whole lot of time. I don't really have the patience for meditation. Breath work seems to work for me very, very well. So, yeah, nothing wrong with meditation. If it works for you, great. Whatever works for you, do it. Oh, this is a good one. Joe Rogan related to the guy who started the Satanic Church. No, he's not. Okay, how about this one? Have you or will you ever delve into the authors that shaped the foundation of this sect? Yeah, I've done a video on the main four. Okay, I know that it comprises of Campbell, Nietzsche, Jung, and LeRoy, but are there others? Now, yeah, those four I did a video on, a specific video. I believe it's called The Blood of Satan. There are other influences in our organization. I would say Crowley. How can you not have a modern esoteric or occultic organization without Crowley having some influence? There are other influences also, my own personal influences, like the German-American philosopher called Erich Hoffer. He's been a huge influence on me going back many, many years to my early 20s when I first read his book, The True Believer. I recommend that book to anyone and everyone. Another big influence on me is Albert Camus in his philosophy of absurdism. Also, Lovecraft. Even though he was a fiction writer, he still, in a sense, established a philosophy, cosmicism, if you will. It's a very dark form of existentialism, but with a bit of hope in it, if you will. So, yeah, those are some of the other thinkers. Oh, and from an aesthetic, let's say an artistic aesthetic point of view, I would say also Clive Barker in the Cenobites. They also have an influence, or he also has an influence on the organization. Okay, the next question. How would you define the difference between the left-hand path and the right-hand path beyond characteristics of orthodox and heterodox? It's a very good question. Now, to begin with, just because you're heterodox does not put you on the left-hand path. An example would be, I had done a video roughly a month or so ago on a couple in India that cut their heads off for Shiva. Now, that act is extremely heterodox, but it is not left-hand path. It's not left-hand path because what they did was the ultimate expression of self-harm. They committed suicide. Harming yourself is not left-hand path, is not on the left-hand path. Because you are your own personal God. It's a form of I-theism, if you will. Now, okay, getting back to the core of the question, the difference between the two, is there something above you that you answer to on your path, on your spiritual or occultic or religious or whatever path? Is there something higher than you that you answer to? If the answer is yes, you're on the right-hand path. If there is nothing higher than you on this path, then it is the left-hand path. It's that simple. Okay, I would like to know your opinions on other subjects as well, such as guns, drugs, abortion, etc. All right, to begin with, I'm for them all. I'm pro all of them. Now, let me clarify. We'll begin with guns. All right? I think everyone should have the right to protect themselves. Pretty much in any way they see fit. This country, now, a lot of you from other countries might not get it, but this country was very much founded on the gun. From the Revolutionary War to the Wild West, you name it. This is very much a gun culture. By making guns illegal will not end gun deaths. It just won't. Not in this country. First off, you're not going to be able to collect those guns. If the government decided, you know what, we're going to collect everyone's guns, it's not going to happen. Trust me, there will be a civil war if they were to attempt that. So that's just not going to happen. There are more guns in this country than there are people. Now, drugs. I do not think the government has a right to tell you what you can or cannot put in your body. They just don't. All right? I think if you do, I don't know, fentanyl, heroin, meth, you're a fucking idiot. But if you choose to, you should be able to. I'm politically speaking, I'm practically an anarchist. I'm like a half step away from being a full-blown anarchist. Because for me, that falls in line with my basic left-hand path philosophy. And, okay, finally, abortion. I think abortion is fucking horrendous. I think it is awful. I think it is horrible. But I think the alternative, if it's outlawed, would even be worse. All right? Basically is what would cause more bloodshed in a sense. Okay, let's see here. Do you worship that which does not benefit or harm? They are worshipers like you. Worship God who created me and you and created the heavens and the earth. No. I don't worship anything. All right. On my video, okay, I've mentioned my video about they who chopped off their heads for Shiva. Somebody simply wrote, who cares? My response to them is the children. The children of the couple who found their parents with their heads missing. That's who cares. Their family members care. And for me, it's not so much caring, it's really finding it fucking fascinating. All right, that this happens, that there are people who would go to this extreme. What was going on in their heads before they lobbed off those heads? See, that kind of stuff I find fascinating. Maybe you don't, but oh well. All right. Okay, this is a good one. On my video, Satanic Collectivism, somebody wrote a very lengthy rant, if you will, very long. And this is the first sentence of that rant. Communism doesn't work because human nature is a shit tire, I think they meant tired, argument against communism. Now, in that following rant, after that sentence, nowhere, and I basically just skimmed it because it was way too long, it appeared they just gave examples of not communism, but examples of government aid, which is a big difference between government aid, if you will, and communism. To put it simply, there has never been a communist nation. This is what the left, right, or center don't understand. There's never been a communist country. Not the Soviet Union, not China, not Pol Pot's Cambodia, not North Korea, not Vietnam. None of them were or are communists. Right? They haven't reached communism. Communism is a state that they wish to achieve. All right? They haven't. None of them have achieved this. So based on that video, all I wrote was, thanks for the education. God bless. Anyway, let's see. Okay, this is a pretty good one. Thomas, did you ever have a conscious or lucid dream? Also, can I ask what your first magic ritual was for? I'm really interested in conscious dreaming and was wondering if you could do a video on it. I don't remember my first ritual. Shit, I was a teenager, maybe 14, 15, something like that. It was probably something really, really fucking silly. Back then I was very confused. I hadn't discovered the left-hand path yet. I was still very much a seeker. Now, have I ever experienced a conscious or lucid dream? Yes, I have. Now, like a lot of people, my most vivid dreams are those that occur when I have a fever. And back, a long time ago, I think it was in my early 20s, I had this dream. I was sitting in a large office room, if you will, with a long table with a bunch of guys wearing white shirts and black ties all on either side of the table. And at the head of the table was a guy attired in the same fashion who was just carrying on, just mumbling away, complete gibberish over and over and over again. All right. I woke up from that dream, went back to sleep, continued having that dream again. Woke up again, went back, continued having that dream again. And that just kept repeating and it was making me nuts. So when I went back into the dream, like the third or fourth time, I forget, I decided, okay, I am dreaming. I'm going to end this dream. And I made a gun appear in my hand and I blew that guy's head off. That guy who would not stop rambling. So yes, I've had lucid dreams before. And I also have had lucid dreams where, in my youth, where I would encounter, let's say, a young woman and I'd realize, haha, I'm dreaming, she's mine, and I'd go up and start making out with her, the adolescent shit. So yes, I have had lucid dreams. I haven't had any of late, though. But, we'll see what happens. Okay. Okay. All right. This was on my last video, the Leviathan Hypothesis. I let the Catholic mythology created to justify murdering their opposition pass. But then you used a politically correct term, Proto-Indo-European, instead of a historically correct term, Aryan. Click. Oh boy, I guess that person showed me. Now, I have no idea what they're talking about when they say Catholic mythology created to justify murdering their opposition path. I don't get that. But now the Proto-Indo-European versus Aryan argument, there's a half-truth to what this person's saying. Now, early on there were a lot of let's say, archaeologists or whatever, who use the term Aryan as pertaining to the Proto-Indo-Europeans. But in truth, the real Aryans were not all the all the Proto-Indo-Europeans, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like saying, if you're European, you're German, or all Europeans are German. No, the real Aryans are a subset of the greater Proto-Indo-European culture, if you will. Okay. On my video, are Satan and Shiva the same thing? Somebody wrote, first they wrote one God, and then that person wrote, the deities are not gods, they are fallen angels. God turned them into demons. All, I guess, Al have goat horns like Baphomet is a transgender. Is not a deity, but was a fallen angel, and God tuned him into a demon. All demons have goat horns like Kern, named Kernanos, a demon depicted with antlers, seated cross-legged, and is associated with stags, horned serpents, dogs, and bulls. Okay, maybe English isn't this person's first language, so I'll excuse that one. Okay, and now for the final question of the day, or comment, that is. This comes off my video, Modern Druidism is Bullshit. I think what you're saying could also be said of many religions around today. Take Christianity. The group today is nothing like it was when the Crusaders and Templars were on the go. Today it's a much more docile version of its older self. So I maybe wouldn't be too hard on today's Druidism. The difference is, and this is big, this huge difference is Christianity has an endless common thread going back for 2,000 years. All right, we can follow that. We can see the evolution of this idea over the past 2,000 years. We can see where it's branched off into multiple denominations and so on and so forth. There's an endless, like I said, endless thread. The problem with Druidism is it was basically exterminated in most of Europe by the Romans, and then later on by the Christians, where it still lingered, let's say in Ireland and parts of Scotland and so on and so forth. Then it really came to an end after that. The Druids themselves did not write anything down, really. Now, they had a form of writing called Ogam or Om, however you want to pronounce it, but it did not, how should I say, document their, quote, faith, their mythology, their mythos, if you will. So we don't know a whole hell of a lot about it. This form of Druidism that's around today is only a couple of hundred years old. It is not in any way, now, there's that, okay, that 200-year-old Druidism established in Britain. And then there's a different kind of form of Druidism, this more modern hippie bullshit Druidism. Now, the other's bullshit too, the 200-year-old British version, but this new hippie version is even worse. It's complete horseshit. It's an example of presentism. They've created this quasi-Druidism based on their view of the world today and how Druidism should have been, which is nothing like it was. Nothing remotely like it was. All right? Druidism was brutal. We know it was brutal because the people themselves were brutal. The culture was brutal. It was violent. There were no happy hippies back 2,000 years ago. or more in Europe. There just weren't. Because if they were, they would have been slaughtered. All right, so there you go, my friends. There's the answer to some of the comments left on my videos. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. I want this channel to grow. All right, I'm attempting to reach 15,000 by the end of the year. I don't know if I'm going to hit that mark, but with your help, I will. So, thank you, my friends. Until next time.